So that's Better Living Through Personal Trainer. My name's Sterling Orchid, Junior. BLT, who don't like food, right? All right. So for my research, I did what workouts are good or bad. So CrossFit, one of the worst workouts that you can do, but one of the most widely known workouts. It's really bad for the muscle and skeletal system. Here's some reasons why. Jerks, snatches, muscle ups. 3 main things. They do these with very low rest periods. It's really bad. I can give you some things. May cause radial tunnel syndrome, also known as RTS, caused by pressure on the radial nerve. And the radial nerve it runs through your arm, but most of the time when you get RTS, it's going to be more towards your elbow. So the elbow is going to be where you're going to start. It's more of it's not a chronic, but it's slowly developing, oof. And yeah, it also causes poor form, which also lead to joint problems, which you can do that with just about anything. You can do poor form when you're running. So there's that. And here's some good ones. Resistance training helps skeletal and muscular systems, which most of the time any good training can. It helps with strength and endurance as well as posture. So you're going to be your back's going to have more muscle to keep yourself straight. Your back's not going to go out of line as much. It increases bone density. So you can take more falls, I guess, if you want to look at it like that. Leaner body mass, just from working out, doing just about any sort of program, you're going to get a leaner body mass because working out is going to obviously break down fat and that, water weight. Increased metabolism. So that's bueno. How endurance training helps. Endurance, it also goes hand in hand, which is just resistance training, just because of how you can add them two together. It can help diseases like cardiovascular disease, which includes blood clots and diseased blood vessels. And diseased blood vessels, nasty little things. They best thing you can do for those is just walk. Not kidding you right now, doctors literally prescribe you. They're like, hey, walk 5 miles. What they do is they basically stop circulation. Most of the time it'll happen in hips and below is what I was reading. So people with, they're almost blue arteries and veins. You can see them in their legs through the skin. That could be an early sign, but most of the times it's usually all right. Diabetes and overall obesity. Diabetes is sometimes caused by obesity. Most of the time it's related to. And of course, posture problems. So a lot of good things when it comes to training right. My mentor was Caleb Hahn. He works at the Hastings YMCA, and he said the reason he does this is because he loves helping in the community and trying to make America not fat. His words. That man right there looks very similar to me, kind of scary. That's him helping out in the community. That's a side shot of his face. You don't really get to see the frontal view. If you want, look him up on Facebook. You can obviously find him there. Profile picture looks a little different, but yeah, kind of scary. All right, my project. I had 2 parts to my project, basically, and for my project, I did what I would be doing, say I took into this field myself. So I had my assessment, which is to determine the client's fitness level. So your first ever session, if you want to call it, it's going to be an assessment. And for the assessment, I have to figure out what you can and can't do, because I want to build you up to exercises to the point where you know that you can do them, just find your level of expertise. And a session, which is based off the assessment, and just basically slowly increase from there, depending on how many you want to take. I have a picture, Caleb squatting, little 25s. Must have been leg day or something the other day. I don't know. He only chose 25s. This is my assessment here, and if you think this is a whole lot, I had to add quite a bit. So warm up. 10-minute fast walk on treadmill, usually about 8 or 9 when it comes down to it. 25-second break between each set, just time waster. Make sure they get a good break. Overhead squat is really going to bring out some of their bad form issues. If they have a posture issue that you need to work on, that's something that you can definitely do. You do that with a body bar, or if they feel strong enough, you can do it with regular bar. 45 pounds and below, I would say. Single leg squat is going to bring out their flexibility, and that's the Pistol Pete's, if you don't know what a single leg squat is, which is, you don't have any kind of support, you just one leg squat. Some push-ups, just to see how well, I don't know, they call them trying to think of the word. They're like, it's like bench, deadlift. They're kind of like combo lifts, I think, combination lifts, something like that. Bench press, another combination lift. Back squat is just more there for more flexibility. It's basically a combination of those two in a way. Yeah, you got bird dogs. So like bird dogs down, these four are all abs. And for bird dogs, anybody here know what a bird dog is? Yeah? No? Okay, bird dog, you're on your hands and knees. And say I raise my left arm, kick out right leg. And then you're still on your hands and knees. Sometimes they'll have you just do legs or just arms depending on where you need it. You know, that's a really good posture exercise for like abs, especially if you have a bad back, because that one right there strengthens your spino, which is a very rare muscle that people actually know they're using. It's actually like in the very low, like, I don't know, almost like a here part of your back, and it's really good to work on. You got scissors, misspelled. It's just another good thing for abs, just to see like how quick they are, I guess. Russian twists. You guys probably all know what those are. Pretty simple stuff. Jackknives are the fun part. Yeah, and then a cool down. You always want to cool down, just because that way, like when they leave and they wake up in the morning, they're not going to be like, oh, I'm sore. But I will say the first week of working out is going to be the worst, just because your body, especially like if you don't work out, I should say, because if you're not working out, then your body is not going to try and basically redevelop what you've already made, but faster. And so that's something really big, especially since you're doing the assessment. So I always want to incorporate a cool down of any kind. And this right here, this is your rating level. Just 1 through 5, pretty basic stuff. You know, 5 being the best, 1 being the least. And you just got to basically figure out how physically inclined they are so that you can, I don't know, help them out to a fitness point, but not destroy their ego, because that's one thing that I learned that you probably don't want to ever do, is destroy their ego. Like, if they can't really do cardio well, and I'm like, hey, go run a mile, and, you know, they're going to be sweating, they're going to be huffing and puffing for a while, and, you know, they're about there, but I want to push them to there, and they're just going to be like, oh, I'm really bad at fitness, and eventually they're going to quit, which is not what I want, because that's less money. Now, this is the actual session, which I added onto this too, because I guess I'm just really bad at planning stuff. So, cardio, you want that treadmill walk for 5 minutes. Also, you can do like a seated rows with just like the regular cable, stuff like that. Especially like when it's cold outside, warm-ups are the best thing you can do for your body, just because when you're cold, your muscles seem to tense up a lot more, and when they're tense, hurting yourself is a lot easier. So I just went through and just, like, this may look like a lot, but it's really not. Like, that took maybe 20 minutes. This here maybe took 15. I added quite a bit on the arms, you know. It's all about gauging where you want to be. Like, as you can see, there's no numbers next to this. Like, since there's, like, yeah, I'll show you. Like, back here, there were so many sets and there were so many numbers, because I thought, oh, okay, you know, I'll be able to do all that. But with this, I was like, you choose your own weight, and I'll choose the reps and sets, and then I'll be able to, you know, make sure we have all the proper timing, just make everything all right. So what I want to be able to do is assist lower back pain. Lower back pain, 8 out of every 10 people have this anytime in their life. 50% of the working class says it makes them slower, you know, while doing their work. Like, this happens to a lot of, like, I don't know, construction workers or manual laborers in general. 40% of people go to a chiropractor for help, thinking that a chiropractor will help this. But actually, I was doing some research the other day, and chiropractor is probably one of the worst things if you go to it regularly. You can go to it and get it straightened out every once in a while, but the more you do it, the less your muscles in your back will continue to be developed. So you're basically undeveloping your back muscles. And the best thing you can do for them is some abs, or I've developed like a exercise plan for them, and pretty nice stuff. It's actually worked because my mother has a boyfriend named Travis who has really bad back problems, and I asked him to use it, and he's been using it for about 3.5, 4 months now, and he went to the chiropractor maybe twice before he did this, and he's been more mobile. So 58% of people prefer to take meds prescribed by like a doctor. That's a $4 billion industry yearly. That's $4 billion. People are spending on pills. Come to me. Give me $4 billion. I'll fix your back. All right? 60 to 80% comes back within 2 years. And most of that is the pills or the chiropractor. So it's just like, it's a lot of stuff that could definitely be avoided. But a lot of people are just too lazy to go out there and, or I guess one thing, anxiety has stopped people from going to trainers about it because they don't want to be judged while they're working out. And one thing Caleb told me is he actually had a client. Okay. He had a client who had like really bad anxiety and depression, and she was kind of heavier set. And so he said that he'd work out with her. He's like, well, I can't take down that offer. He's like, I got paid $20 an hour to work out. He's like, I wish I could do that all the time. So mentorship accomplishments. I did sessions. I think I did probably about 8-9 different sessions with like 5 different clients, a couple of them different times. I tested the assessment that I showed you guys, and I also tested the session, not in the same day, of course, but I think they were probably about 2 weeks apart. It was pretty easy stuff. And business package deals. That's one thing that he really emphasized on, just because a lot of people, they don't have the money anymore. He says your main audience are the people that don't have the money to do it, because most people that want to lose all this weight are the ones with kids, or the ones with more kids in college or kids on the way, something like that. And he said that if you give them a package deal, that it seems a lot better to them. It just seems easier for them to kind of give you the money for the sessions. Like one thing that he does is for every 4 times you work out on your own with his workouts, just shoot him a text or something, and he'll give you the exercises on your phone. That way you can do it. And for every 4 times, he'll give you 1 free session. And I was like, well, if they work out every week, 4 times a week, they get 1 free session. That's what I would do. But I guess a lot of people don't really take a whole lot of advantage of that. Just jobs and stuff get in the way. So, questions?
Good. Did you get to test that?
Test what?
On an actual person. Did you get to do that with actual customers, actual people?
Not customers, Caleb.
Oh, I know, not customers, like they're not paying you, but did you get to actually do that plan and all that stuff on a real person?
Caleb was the test subject. Yeah. Any more?
What are you going to do next semester?
Still kind of debating, but for right now, that's the plan.
So I put in here, I think where you can go, there's so much science involved in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Next semester, this was good. Next semester, I would say try to go deeper into the science behind all of it.
Like the kinesiology?
Yeah, so why does your your back thing works, and maybe you know it, and you just didn't get it across to me well. I didn't understand it, but your back thing you have Travis work on.
Yeah.
Why does it actually work, and what? And you don't have to go into it right now. I'm just saying, make sure. If people are going to go to this and pay you all this kind of money someday, they want to make sure that you're not just oh, give me a second, and you go on Google and get this. Not that that's what you did, but make sure you have the science to back it up, right?
That is part of what I did, to be honest.
Okay, good. No,
yeah.
I can tell, you understand this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying make sure that you have that, because that's the big thing for a lot of people too. Is they want to make sure if I'm going to a personal trainer, he better know.
Well, yeah, that would.
Good job of explaining things. So.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense to me on basically any business opportunity that you would go into. I am going to get into that back thing though, just because you mentioned it. But the one reason that does work is I'm having people do what they call is half reps. The first thing is it's called a partial crunch, and it's a lot more resistance training than it is hypertrophy or anything else. And so they'll lay down and put your hands on your head and whatever, and they'll do a crunch to about yay far off the ground, or not, okay, yay far, and then they hold that for about 30 to 45 seconds, and that's just going to build off like their resistance, and it's going to help like fully develop all of their muscles. And there's some exercises that, like, if you do toe touches, that's probably, for one, it's going to hurt you, and two, it's going to hurt you some more because you're
It's not a good exercise.
yeah, it's not, yeah.
You did a good job.
Thank you. All right.